There are moments in life when everything you thought was hidden suddenly finds the light. Sometimes the very walls that seemed so steady around you begin to reveal the cracks nobody wanted to see. Maybe you've noticed it, how people who used to speak with so much confidence about you have grown quiet, their certainty dissolving in the face of something they can no longer ignore. You've spent years quietly enduring whispers, feeling eyes follow you in rooms that pretended not to notice your courage. But here's the truth. No storm, no mask, no illusion can outlast the clarity of your spirit. Today isn't just another day. Today is when the dust settles, the air clears, and everyone finally realizes what you've always known deep inside. Realness can't be buried forever. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap Join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership. It's your calling. It happens in a way nobody expects. A quiet unraveling, like paint peeling away from an old mural, exposing what was always underneath. The crowd that once cheered for a facade now stares in stunned silence, unable to defend the story they so desperately clung to. Trust is not shattered in a single blow but in countless tiny moments, each one revealing more than the last. There comes a time when the air changes and the very people who judged you start to wonder if they misunderstood everything. Vindication doesn't roar, it arrives softly, settling like sunlight after a long night, and lets everyone see, clear as day, who stood in truth, and who was playing a role all along. The universe has a way of making sure the real story is seen by everyone, right when it matters most. Some people cannot stand to witness a spirit that glows with its own natural brilliance. In their minds, every step upward is evidence that the ground beneath you must be unstable, that there must be some trick at play. The pursuit of wealth, for them, became an obsession, a constant chase after something that slipped through their fingers, no matter how tightly they clutched at it. Every time fortune favored you, it felt to them like fate itself had conspired to rob them of their share. The idea that blessings multiply when shared or that generosity opens new pathways was foreign to them. Instead, they operated from a world where every gain for another was a loss for themselves. Attempts to replicate your authenticity led them in circles, each effort less convincing than the last. Their enthusiasm faded when audiences sensed the lack of real substance, and their attempts to force admiration only widened the distance between them and those they tried to impress. In a desperate effort to recapture lost momentum, they expended more than they possessed, believing if they could just outshine your presence, the tide would turn. In that logic, diminishing your name was the shortcut to restoring their own importance. If you've been touched by God's goodness, don't keep it to yourself. Click Super Thank You, and sow a gift of $20 or more to help spread His light. Your giving becomes a ripple of grace, blessing hearts and building His kingdom. Let His overflow pour through you. Trouble rarely announces itself with a trumpet. The first signs are so subtle, so easy to miss. An unexpected setback here, a burst of uncertainty there, doubts dressed up as friendly advice, or technical problems arriving right when opportunity knocked. A circle of acquaintances that once echoed encouragement begins to insert questions that make every victory feel suspect, every move forward seem hasty. It's almost natural to start wondering if the root of the problem lies within. But the truth reveals itself. Interference always clusters around the moments of greatest transformation. The supposed accidents align too neatly with your biggest chances, the timing too precise to be dismissed. Once the pattern becomes clear, their tactics look clumsy, even childish, a series of poorly disguised attempts to keep you from stepping into your next chapter. True influence is never erased by shadows thrown from someone else's lantern. Any effort to sow discord or confusion circles back, collecting strength along the way. It might first show up as small reversals in the lives of those who tried to dim your light. Opportunities slipping away, partnerships dissolving, admiration fading. As this reversal accelerates, missteps multiply, tools fail, trust evaporates, and the very things they hope to steal become sources of loss and embarrassment. The echo is always tailored, returning not as punishment but as a lesson, urging self-reflection where there was once only projection. The energy behind their schemes transforms into a mirror, reflecting every intention back onto its origin. In the end, every plot, every bit of envy, every attempt to copy your essence leads them right back to themselves, teaching the lesson that cannot be escaped. What you try to bury in others will be unearthed in your own life. Some journeys unfold as if an invisible architect is quietly rearranging the obstacles before you. Pathways that once seemed blocked become illuminated by unexpected lights, revealing possibilities even the sharpest opponents could never have anticipated. Moments that looked like setbacks become catalysts for encounters beyond the reach of outside interference. When it appeared everything was stacked against advancement, a new alliance emerged from a direction no one was watching. A powerful figure drawn by the quiet resonance of integrity and vision. Instead of doors closing, windows of opportunity widened, and with every passing day, a once impossible scenario became your new reality. All conversations and decisions unfolded in privacy, far beyond the sphere of anyone seeking to manipulate outcomes, and every step forward seemed synchronized with a force that wanted your progress more than any adversary wanted your defeat. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $20 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. There are those who expect chaos in response to sabotage, believing that provoking a reaction will justify their own hostility. But true mastery is found not in loud retaliation, but in the discipline to remain unmoved, focused on creation rather than conflict. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's an energy that radiates confidence and signals to the world that outcomes are determined by inner stability, not by the noise of opposition. While the antagonists became entangled in their own schemes, guidance arrived in subtle forms. Whispers of insight, moments of clarity, a deepening sense that you were never unprotected. As the storms around you intensified, a new layer of insight formed within, so that every outside attempt to stir chaos only amplified your peace, making every act of aggression seem more desperate and misplaced. Desperation can make people act in ways that border on the absurd, especially when their attempts to gain access to your world only highlight how little they understand your boundaries. Clumsy efforts to interfere with personal connections unravel their true motives before anyone can be harmed. When these schemes come to light, those closest to you recognize the pattern and begin to question the energy behind every interaction. Instead of isolating you, these failed infiltrations only strengthen your support system, as observers grow wary of anyone whose curiosity borders on obsession. Every attempted breach becomes evidence, not of your vulnerability, but of their unraveling. As time passes, even the most carefully concealed manipulations come apart under their own weight. Questions arise not from confrontation, but from careful observation. People who once followed without question begin to notice odd echoes between timelines, similarities in language, and an uncanny alignment between supposed innovations and your well-established ideas. The illusion of originality fades as repetition and mimicry become impossible to hide. When pressed for answers, those at the center of the web struggle to explain the overlaps, weaving explanations that lack substance. Their stories become tangled, and the truth, once hidden beneath layers of performance, emerges with clarity, dissolving whatever false authority they tried to claim. Sometimes, life exposes the truth in ways that no one can anticipate. What began as subtle hints, an unearned promotion here, a borrowed idea there, eventually snowballed into undeniable proof that lines had been crossed. Excuses about coincidence fell apart the moment clear patterns emerged. Digital trails, uncovered by happenstance, left little doubt about who had been studying your path and mapping out each step in secret. The extent of the orchestration surfaced not by your searching, but when remorseful participants, weighed down by guilt, decided to come clean. Each new testimony painted a fuller picture, revealing the magnitude of their fixation. They tracked every move, mirrored your output, and tried to shape your relationships from the shadows. For every claim of strategy, a mountain of evidence revealed itself. The cascade of admissions became impossible to ignore, each one peeling away another layer of secrecy. What surprised you most wasn't the resistance. You'd sensed opposition for a long time. The real shock was discovering how many silent allies were present, watching the drama unfold, quietly ensuring you were never left unprotected. Support came from places you couldn't see. People whispering blessings on your behalf, strangers channeling hope in your direction, friends and mentors shielding your progress without ever asking for thanks. What seemed like good luck in moments of crisis was, in truth, the byproduct of invisible hands weaving a safety net beneath your journey. Unexpected solutions arrived just in time. Health challenges dissolved before becoming threats. Pressure faded as unexpected opportunities appeared. The unseen community operating in the background turned out to be your quiet army, always one step ahead of disaster. A wise mentor reached out from afar, compelled by intuition to offer reassurance and context. They explained that your name had appeared in their thoughts, compelling them to direct protection toward your mission. Others had joined, united not by acquaintance, but by shared intent, a silent coalition of those who recognized a common cause. The obstacles you faced were visible to anyone with insight. The patterns of sabotage couldn't fool those who understood energy beneath the surface. Through this network, it became clear. You weren't singled out as a victim, but as a spark for transformation. The tension you triggered was not about your path, but about the discomfort your authenticity created for those unwilling to confront themselves. The resistance wasn't about you, but about what you forced others to see within. This shift in awareness changed everything. The adversity was not simply opposition, but a process of refinement. Every challenge became an invitation to deepen your practice, to draw clearer lines, and to sharpen your vision for what was next. Those who opposed you became unwitting mentors, their obstacles pushing you into mastery, their resistance strengthening the very resolve they tried to break. What was meant to disrupt only led you further into your calling, transforming every attack into a lesson on the path to true authority. Sometimes, life rewards patience and honesty in ways that can't be explained by logic alone. When obstacles were thrown to block your progress, doors opened instead, inviting more abundance than you could have planned for. Attempts to diminish your reputation did the opposite, sharpening your resolve and attracting new opportunities. An offer arrived, more generous than anything you'd imagined, not just in material wealth but in visibility, influence, and resources to help others. While others scrambled for leftovers, a new realm of possibility unfolded before you, revealing that generosity of spirit attracts prosperity with ease. Protection was woven into every detail. Attempts to tamper with your stability backfired, revealing the truth behind the scenes and inspiring deeper trust from those around you. Each hurdle only made your foundation stronger, turning every attempted setback into a platform for even greater growth. Desperation leads to exposure. When those hoping to undermine you sought to shift public opinion, their own actions became their undoing. Private discussions found their way into the light, and those who had quietly endured manipulation finally spoke up. The circle that was meant to stand united against you fractured, revealing the real architects of deception. The one at the center found themselves surrounded by questions, no longer sheltered by influence or borrowed authority. The twist was that the universe had always offered a different path. Had they chosen growth over shortcuts, their dreams could have been fulfilled in a way that needed no trickery. The collapse was thorough. The same channels that once broadcast curated success now reflected back the collective disappointment of those who had felt misled. Attempts to defend or justify the past only deepened suspicion. The value placed on authenticity became the dividing line, and the community turned its gaze elsewhere. Not everyone chooses to walk the path of truth. It takes courage to rise into your own purpose. The journey asks for boldness, not just belief. What matters most is stepping into your potential, not just hearing messages about it. Even in the aftermath, life presents a chance for renewal. Sincere guides quietly offered support to anyone willing to face their mistakes and start anew. The door to restoration was never locked. It only required humility and the willingness to change. As seasons shifted, moments of awakening appeared on the horizon, confirming that what's meant for you cannot be blocked. The right alliances emerged without resistance, agreements formed faster than expected, and what once felt like hidden protection became plainly visible as every challenge transformed into a tool for building something lasting. When your purpose crystallizes, every preconception about your destiny dissolves, revealing a landscape vaster than you'd ever pictured. The invitation was never just about personal gain. It opened the door to affecting hearts and minds far beyond your immediate circle. With each new step, the scope of your influence widened, drawing in people from every walk of life who'd longed for truth in a world hungry for it. The moment arrived exactly when the need for real connection was at its highest. Bonds with those who'd stood by you through shadow and sunlight grew stronger, evolving into a genuine fellowship built on mutual respect. Fresh friendships sparked instantly with those attuned to your frequency, weaving a tapestry of collaboration that spanned continents. Isolation transformed into belonging. The realization dawned that your path was part of an intricate web of luminous souls working in silent unity. Resolution emerged quietly, not as the spectacle some had anticipated, but as the steady unraveling of old illusions. Groups once united by misinformation began to awaken, their doubts growing until they could no longer sustain the stories they'd clung to. Partners who'd once looked away started to examine the patterns, recognizing the inconsistencies that signaled deeper truths. No external force was required to topple the structure. It caved in on itself, undermined by the very secrets meant to protect it. Reality's simple clarity dismantled even the most carefully crafted lies. Piece by piece, every hidden motive was brought to light until the whole edifice dissolved, leaving transparency in its wake. They never grasped that the foundation of your journey rested on a different set of rules. Where others fixated on outpacing rivals, you focused on lifting as you climbed. For some, advancement meant conquest, but for you, it was about rising together in authenticity. The more light you shared, the brighter your path became. While adversaries viewed life as a series of battles with clear winners and losers, you operated on principles of expansion and generosity, ideas that made their antagonism irrelevant. Attacks bounced harmlessly off a core untouched by ego, as their strategies proved useless against a heart guided by purpose. It was as if they'd brought the wrong instruments to a symphony whose music they couldn't hear. True challenge comes not from persecution, but from the duty that accompanies unwavering support from the unseen. With every layer of deception pulled away, understanding deepened. Your journey had prepared you for this moment through lessons won by persistence and unwavering faith. It became clear that the shield around your life wasn't an accident. It was the culmination of choosing growth, compassion, and hope time after time, even when it seemed illogical. The safety you felt was not a random gift, but the earned outcome of walking through fires that others never dared approach. Now, with eyes wide open to the truth behind the struggle, you're called to serve as a beacon for those still wandering, illuminating a path through the confusion of a world in transformation. Separation can arrive as a silent verdict. When the storm faded and the dust settled, those who'd once stood in the shadows alongside their leader found the ground crumbling beneath them. One by one, alliances unraveled. Those who had benefited from shared schemes began erasing their traces when the risks became personal. Former partners distanced themselves, the instant accountability threatened their comfort. Individuals who had helped behind the scenes, suddenly exposed, shifted blame to preserve their own standing. What began as a tightly knit circle dissolved with breathtaking speed under the slightest examination. For the one left alone in the aftermath, the void wasn't punishment, but a rare invitation to true change. If they dared to surrender their pride and accept responsibility, what had felt like a collapse could be a doorway to genuine renewal. But such a turning point always demands honesty, humility, and the courage to rebuild without borrowed strength. Transformation rarely ends at the defeat of opposition. It becomes the catalyst for something greater. All the skills honed in times of trial, all the clarity shaped by conflict, become resources you now extend to others in need. The vision you developed, once used for defense, is now a guide for the next wave of seekers. The trust in universal alignment that carried you through every difficulty becomes the blueprint for future creation. This new chapter is more than a personal triumph. It grows into a mission where experience is shared as wisdom, where hard-earned insight is given as protection and inspiration. Those who find you now seek not only truth, but practical methods for navigating unseen battles and holding fast to integrity in the face of adversity. Your journey transforms into a living lesson, equipping others to thrive in situations they once feared. The very threshold your adversaries hope to block becomes your launchpad. Where rivals perceived threat, you discover opportunity for unity. What others see as limitation, you transform into collective flourishing. Fear gives way to love, isolation to community. The force they tried to suppress becomes the wind behind your wings, lifting not just you, but everyone who dares to rise alongside you. What began as a story of challenge becomes a testament to the power of turning struggle into service and adversity into awakening for the many. Wisdom arrives in unexpected waves, each crest revealing more about the intricate tapestry of your life than the last. What others sent as disruption became blueprints for growth, reshaping each difficulty into a stepping stone for those who would follow. The ways you held your center amid chaos became not only a lesson in resilience, but a living guide for all who'd find themselves under similar pressure. The careful recording of these trials and your responses to them morphed into a roadmap, one that exposes manipulation in its many disguises and teaches clarity in the face of confusion. Instead of fueling endless striving, resources flowed naturally, drawn by the honesty of your intention and the transparency of your purpose. Wealth, when guided by a grounded heart, became an instrument for real change. No longer a token for self-worth, it grew into a channel for advancing collective well-being, supporting healing, safeguarding the vulnerable, and uplifting voices once overlooked. With every opportunity and every dollar, the vibration of integrity echoed, empowering movements and planting seeds for a better world. As you stood on the other side of the storm, surrounded by opportunities that blossomed regardless of sabotage, the truth of your calling finally crystallized. The label of chosen no longer signified entitlement but marked a sacred invitation to elevate others. Instead of an easy road, it pointed toward the responsibility of transforming shadows into pathways of hope, simply by refusing to break under pressure. Where once you were met with suspicion, now you are met with respect, your presence a guiding light, not a threat. Visibility, once weaponized against you, now serves as a bridge for awakening a wider community to their own power and truth. In the silent intervals between celebrations and achievements, between the closure of old wounds and the birth of new horizons, you come to a profound realization. Everything you needed to endure was always alive within you, long before the struggle began. The essence of your strength was never in resistance, but in holding to your light, in choosing presence while others scattered, in trusting that balance would be restored in ways no one could anticipate. The very energy that set you on this journey continues to hum within, steady, unhurried, woven into your every breath. You walk further not out of competition, but out of alignment with a destiny others have yet to glimpse. The flow of resources is effortless now, a reflection of your dedication to service, while protection arises as a byproduct of your harmony with timeless, unseen allies. The lens that once distorted your image has been cleared, not only for others but for yourself. You see, at last, not a survivor of trials but a forger of purpose, one who has transmuted conflict into teaching, adversity into possibility, and spiritual adversity into a living testament of genuine strength. To live as the chosen is not to possess flawless perfection, but to become so steady that even the deepest darkness can be illuminated by your unwavering presence. Adversity is not banished, but its power is dissolved. Your legacy is shaped not by victories over rivals, but by your refusal to leave love behind in the face of chaos. The journey they started believing it would undo you has instead fulfilled a far greater story, one of truth revealed, light restored, and authentic influence flourishing in a world starved for honesty. What remains as this chapter closes is not the sound of triumph over an enemy, but the quiet, powerful certainty that you have fulfilled your role. And in that hush, the energy that started your story now offers its final benediction, a recognition earned, a lesson lived, and a new era set in motion by your unwavering authenticity.